היה כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחלה וירשת וישבת בה.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to be with you. I look forward to the show every week where I could share information with you, a few words of Torah, a few words about our people, explain the threats that our people face, come up with possible plans, solutions, activities, what we could do to combat and fight back. Let me just ask everyone before we start, if you could please share this with the various groups and pages that you're part of on social media. We'll reach a lot more people. We're active on, right now, Facebook. We're active on YouTube. Pretty soon we'll be active on other platforms as well. So I'm just asking you, please share this with whatever pages and groups and platforms that you're part of. We'll reach a lot more people and have a stronger impact. We did score a victory today. I'll get into that right after the parsha with respect to the Bikers for Palestine. There are plans to ride through the Jewish community and spread all kinds of anti-Semitism and hate and try to intimidate our community. But first, let's talk a little bit about the parsha and see where the parsha leads us in our mission to combat anti-Semitism and stand up for ourselves as proud Jews. So this week's parsha is Ki Tavo. And in this parsha, Ki Tavo, God says clearly to the Jewish people here in the Torah, if you don't obey the Torah, this, that, and the other will happen to you. It will not be good for you, so on and so forth. Now remember, the Jews at that time, they left Egypt. And they saw the total debauchery of that society, slavery, working people to death, killing Jews, anti-Semitism being justified with smiling faces till Moses came on the scene and led the Jewish people out of Egypt. And the Jewish people were proclaimed by God to be Amskula, special people, chosen people, and given the Torah, and given a mission and given a job to do to set up a Jewish society, a real Jewish society, according to the Torah, according to what was given by God to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai, how to set up a society, the right society that would be a beacon of light and hope to the entire world, an example of first to ourselves. So it says in this parsha, Ki Tavo, that God says, where is it? So, I mean, it goes through all the curses. If you don't do this, if you don't do that, bad stuff will happen to you. Bad stuff will happen to you. And then it says, because you did not serve Hashem your God with gladness and goodness of heart, this and that will happen to you. So what's going on here? So in the parsha, it's clearly saying that you have to serve God besimcha. You have to do the mitzvahs, the commandments, besimcha, with joy. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is that it seems the major stumbling block for many of our people is that they look at the other nations of the world and they think they have something really good to offer. Or they look at our numbers, that we're such a minority, and therefore they're so intimidated that they want to grab onto something from some other society, some other people, and say, I want to gravitate towards that and I want to walk in their footsteps, no matter how wrong those footsteps could be. There's the Taliban in Afghanistan. What do they represent? Horrible things. The exact opposite of the Torah. The exact opposite. Stoning women, beheading innocent people, killing gays, is just horrible. And that's so prevalent within the Islamic world. It's not coincidental that Hamas and the Taliban support each other. The same evilness. And again, Jewish people compared to the Islamic society, there's approximately 1.5 billion Muslims in the world, maybe 14 million Jews in the world, 15, 16, depends who's counting. We're a small people. Look at the Germans. Incredible society they had. Jews were so proud of being German back then. They said we're Germans of the Mosaic persuasion. They wanted to be more German than your average German. They fought in the World War I, decorated soldiers. And yet, when Hitler came to power, the Hitler Youth, they found Jewish veterans of the German army and forced them to get on their hands and knees with toothbrushes and clean the streets. That's before they sent Jews to the gas chambers. That was step one. And there was Kristallnacht and everything else. And we have to aspire for the values of that kind of society. Western values are better than most values in the world. I'll say that. But Jewish values are what's important to us. And when it says that in the Torah, you must serve God b'simcha, approach the Torah b'simcha, be proud about being Jewish. Don't aspire to be anything else up there, because in the end, the Taliban, that's pure evil. The BDS, what they represent, Islamic BDS movements, that's what it is. This is political Islam in motion. That's what the BDS is. BDS is founded in Ramallah. It's not founded in Miami, Florida, or Los Angeles, California. Nothing like that. No, it's founded in Ramallah. And the founding organizations are Islamic Jihad, Hamas, all these radical Islamic organizations that have a relationship and have a support base with the Taliban, those headhunters. So we have to be proud of being Jewish, and we have to. And if we don't know, and there are people amongst us who are ignorant, it's available to you to learn, to study, and anyone that wants to reach out to me and find how could they learn the basics if they don't know it, I'll certainly help you out. I'll connect you with people who could certainly help you out. Absolutely no problem. Got some information this morning that the Bikers for Palestine, their event to ride through the Jewish community in Toronto, the event is no longer online. The organization Islamic Relief Canada has deleted it, in fact, from their list of events on their website. And Everbright, that had the organization, if you did a Google search for the event, there it is. It's canceled, and in fact, when you click on the link, it doesn't exist anymore. It's removed. So there's not going to be a Bikers for Palestine happening this Shabbat through the Jewish community, and we are organizing against that. We had all kinds of contingency plans. We had meetings. I had a meeting, in fact, tonight, earlier, 5:30, at the Zionist Center. We were discussing this, and I had a meeting on Monday night at the Zionist Center as well, and I had a meeting last week at the Zionist Center about this, and I had conference calls with a lot of people, and I was on the line with speaking with various politicians as well, and thank God that a lot of people reached out to Yorkdale Corporation and informed them and expressed our concerns, and Yorkdale Corporation was very clear that they're not going to allow Bikers for Palestine to assemble at Yorkdale, and the police have been informed, and I'm not exactly sure why Islamic Relief Canada has deleted the event. I would speculate that Islamic Relief Canada is a charitable organization in Canada, and therefore I don't think a charity wants to be associated with something that could potentially bring about violence or hate or something associated with that in the Jewish community on the Jewish Sabbath. I don't think a charity wants to be associated with that and have some kind of investigation. Maybe that's the reason why. Maybe not. I haven't spoken to them. They haven't reached out to me. I don't know. All I can do is speculate, but or maybe they thought it was bad press for them, period, and or maybe just a terrible idea from the get-go, and it didn't. The light never went on, but the light went on today, so it's not happening. So thank God. Thank God. We still have a lot of challenges, but we do have some information we want to cover about bikers for Palestine. I mean, bikers for Palestine. What does that mean? There was a bike ride in Gaza controlled by Hamas, where they're actually dragging dead bodies of who they consider to be collaborators. I think we have a video on that, in fact, that we could show. If our doctor in the studio has that video, if it's available, I'd like to show that. This is a clear example of the type of Hamas intimidation that they want to show in the Jewish community. And by the way, I don't see these organizations who call themselves human rights organizations and the Bleeding Heart for so-called Palestine or anything like that, condemning Hamas for what they're doing. So if we have that video and we could show that, I'd like the viewers to see, have an eye-opener about that. There's also a video of okay, so we might not be able to show that video. I just got that message, but there's also a video of at a rally in May in London, England, where they're chanting from their vehicles, cars. It's like a car rally instead of motorcycles, but same idea, where over loudspeakers they're calling to rape Jewish women. You believe this? They're calling at what they call a pro-Palestine, anti-Israel rally to rape Jewish women. Is that what we want in the streets of Toronto? To have bikers for Palestine spreading all kinds of I mean, that's what we're up against. And, like I said with the parsha, what you want to aspire for that? We have, there are so-called Jewish groups, Independent Jewish Voices, Jews for the BDS, Jewish Voice for Peace, Ben and Jerry's. They think the BDS is the greatest thing. Islamic BDS is the greatest thing to attach themselves to. And at these rallies, they're saying, like, for instance, in London, England, that's what they were saying. Some from the rally over the loudspeakers. I didn't hear any denunciation from the organizers of the rallies of that. And I don't hear a denunciation from the organizers of the rallies here in Toronto and across Canada when they're calling for an intifada. I don't hear these so-called Jewish groups for the BDS condemning calls for the intifada. What is the intifada? What is the intifada? The intifada is a violent uprising where they're killing Israelis. And when they call to globalize the intifada, what are they calling for? They're calling to spread that violence throughout the world against Jews, against supporters of Israel. That's what it means. Now, we do have a video clip of a woman terrorist. Hang on. Of a woman terrorist who is responsible for bombing a pizza shop in Jerusalem. And she was proud of killing Jews in this operation. First, she thought just a few Jewish children were killed. Then the person who's conducting the interview said what the number was, and it was quite a few. And she was smiling through the interview. This is the intifada. These are the people that the BDS organizations revere. Oh, let's see. I just got a message. I got that one with some others. Yeah. So our doctor in the studio, if you could show that video, that will explain it, what the BDS is for, what the intifada is.
I will do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show that video as the conclusion to about 5 minutes of videos. We've put so many together for the past couple of weeks.
Right.
We've had so many guests. So I'm going to show about an 8-minute video, which I think sums it all up. And it'll conclude with the sad pizza bombing. So I'm going to get that up for you. And meanwhile, people listening, go to israelnow.com and donate.
Yes, please make a donation. We need it. The high holidays are upon us in like a week and a half. Israel Now could use your contribution. There's so much important work, and we're going to get into other projects that we're going to be involved with, and we're going to succeed also. Make a contribution, and you could call up also and make your comments known or your questions. Number 647-510-5535. We have some dynamic video to show you to prove our point. Here we go.
So we're going to call this video basically the compilation. We're just going to call it Just Blame Israel, Just Blame the Jews, because that's what it's all about. Everybody seems to think that we actually did 9/11. How absurd. The most recent absurdity is that there's a secret Jewish space laser that's causing wildfires, or that the plague is our fault, or that COVID-19 is our fault. So hashtag Just Blame the Jews. According to a Rebecca in the in the Canadian Parliament, that we're responsible for George Floyd's death because we obviously trained him.
It is right to rebel!
Burning Israeli flags is just a new hobby, a new sport. It's going to be an Olympic sport, the next Olympics out here. I know it's not just in America that they're doing this. This is in Israel. It looks like we're back in Nazi Germany again. And of course, the children. Now, I got a question though. Is it just me? I've got a question for you. Or does it seem that the Palestinians just hijack everyone else's cause and rallies? They just jump on the bandwagon because they have nothing original. So the word for that, just jumping on, is a parasite. Is exploiting somebody, another, while really getting nothing to the host in return. So they've hijacked women's rights, Black Lives Matter, gay rights, human rights. It all somehow became a Palestinian cause. You know, and Palestine to Ferguson, what does that even mean? Do they even understand the history of black and Jews in America? That back in 1909, we were trying to abolish slavery. And then in the 1960s, we died trying to abolish slavery. And Martin Luther King was a Zionist. Louis Armstrong wore a Star of David. So where did this new Black Lives Matter anti-Semitism come from when Martin Luther himself was a proud Zionist? Try suggesting human rights under Sharia law with this cute little family and their child. That's what they do with children in Hamas. You know, Carl Sandburg said, a child is God's opinion, the world should go on. Well, that's not what the Sharia law, what Hamas, what the Taliban, ISIS, Hezbollah. Where's the human rights everybody's talking about? Israel is denying human rights? Where's that even coming from? This looks like human wrongs, not human rights.
I'm speaking for millions of Afghan girls and women who are about to lose their freedom to go to school, to work, and to participate in the political, economic, and social life of the country.
I want to take this opportunity to speak to our brothers.
A Canadian politician.
Brothers, the Taliban. Brothers, the Taliban.
Oh, the record must have got stuck. This is our brothers, the Taliban, dragging dead bodies through the street. That's her brother?
By dragging the dead body of an Afghan soldier through the streets, chanting, "God is great."
The situation is under control.
But of course they have it under control. The Taliban assures us it's going to be okay.
Are assuring people that there is nothing to worry about.
Brothers, the Taliban. We call on you to ensure the safe and secure passage of any individual in Afghanistan out of the country.
Yeah, they're good for their word. I trust them.
إسرائيل الآن في حالة ارتباك، في حالة رعب فعلا، ويعرفون جيدا أن ما حصل في مطار كابول سيتكرر في مطار بن غوريون، حتى مطار بن غوريون سيغلق، يعني لن تكون هناك طائرات، ليس أمامهم إلا البحر. والله لو يستمعوا لنصائح السيد نصر الله عليهم أن يتعلموا من الآن السباحة. الإسرائيليون والله لن يجدوا مطارا يخرجون فيه.
Of course, there's a women's march. All of a sudden, there's a Palestinian issue. Let's have a women's march in Afghanistan or in Gaza.
We see that the West wants to talk about the rights of women. The rights of women. Ah, yes. Her right to be a prostitute.
He should be at the Women's March to give a speech.
Her right to sleep around with whomever she wishes.
That's her right to sleep around.
I want you to understand what those rights are, by the way.
Another peace-loving Israel rally we showed moments ago. Of course, gays in Palestine. That makes a lot of sense. Where's for Palestine? Are you kidding me? This is what they do with gays in Sharia law. But what do they do with gays in Israel? Because we're such civil rights offenders. We have an annual gay pride parade.
Dated March 2015 purport to show a man being thrown from a building. According to the last caption, he was also then stoned.
This is how they celebrate gays under Sharia law.
Gay. These images were posted by ISIS in its stronghold of Raqqa. This series as well, from January, show an older man seated in a chair and then tumbling to the ground. Also in January, these from ISIS in Mosul, 2 men murdered in the same manner. In all the photographs, dozens of people are seen watching the killings, seemingly unfazed.
It's like in the ancient Roman Forum. And
Halevi
here's
Pride
gays in
2018. Every summer, thousands of people from Israel and around the world come together to celebrate love, acceptance, and joy. This year, Tel Aviv is marking 20 years since its first gay pride parade.
That's civil rights violation.
This is one of the largest parades in the world, the biggest one in Asia, and the only one in the Middle East. Last year, over 200,000 people joined, and probably even more here this year.
This is what they do. This is what they've always done since the creation of the genocidal, sovereign colonial Zionist entity. They have killed and lied and stole and raped and pillaged and continue to lie. Building a state on the blood of our people.
While other children enjoy the beach, go camping, or play sports, thousands of young Palestinians, some of them as young as 8, will participate in military drills where they will be using live ammunition. They'll learn how to assemble weapons and simulate how to assassinate and kill Israeli civilians. Most disturbingly, they threaten the dreams, well-being, and the future of the next Palestinian generation.
And as you, Meir, had referred to earlier, the mastermind of this terrorist operation is very proud of herself. And Israel has civil rights violations.
كانت مهمتي فقط اختيار الموقع وتوصيل الاستشهادي، التخطيط للعملية بشكل عام، لكن تنفيذ العملية كان على الاستشهادي وليس علي. فأخبرت أن يدخل إلى المطعم، أن يتناول وجبة، وبعد ذلك بعد ربع ساعة أن يقوم بتنفيذ العملية الاستشهادية. وأنا بدوري يعني حققت لهذا الاستشهادي الحياة التي يريد.
לא חשבת על האנשים שהיו בתוך המסעדה? הילדים, המשפחות?
لا.
את יודעת כמה ילדים נהרגו בסבארו?
3 أطفال قتلوا في هذه العملية أعتقد. 8.
Meir, back to you in the studio.
Okay, so when we have BDS organizations here outside of Israel, in North America, in Toronto, in New York City, that are calling to globalize the intifada, when you see exactly what's going on there, blowing up pizza restaurants and smiling about killing kids, these are demented individuals. Now, granted, the ones today, there are university professors that are supporting this. They're wearing suits and ties. They're trying to they're trying to run for political office, some of them, in fact, to have an influence. And what our studio director pointed out also, joining various organizations, not in an effort to help, like when they join unions, to help when it comes to the issue of job security and wages or anything, but no, to try to infiltrate inside these organizations in order to make the BDS a cause, so that your rank and file union member, who really only cares about a roof over his head and then paying his bills and his wages, what he's making, when he hears there's going to be some meeting about something else, he's not even going to attend. He's not even going to vote. So they fled the voting with their own people in order to pass something against Israel. That's an example. Then they get into other organizations as well. The Women's March. Did you hear Linda Sarsour? Anything about Afghanistan? No. Any of these people? The Squad in the States, congresswomen that are with the BDS? No. They're silent. And it's predictable, the silence. It's not an issue of even being two-faced. They never had a position on these matters. They are just focused, hyper-focused on Israel, and they want Israel destroyed. There are a number of cases right now in Toronto, in the greater Toronto area, not only in Toronto, in fact, across Canada. I imagine same things going on in the United States, but across Canada right now. And there's an election happening right now in Canada, also a federal election. So there are synagogues being spray painted with swastikas. There are people running in the elections who support Israel. Their signs, election signs, are being defaced with swastikas. Now, why is this happening and who is doing it? Well, the BDS organizations throughout Canada and in the States, but in Canada, because what's going on right now, and this is taking place right now, they have rejected the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. And one of the examples, or a couple of the examples of the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, is comparisons between Israel and Nazi Germany, and accusing Israel and Jews who support Israel of genocide. So because the BDS rejects that, because the BDS accuses Israel and the Jewish people of genocide and equates Israel with Nazi Germany, they really do, that's why it is predictable, and it is happening, that these election signs by Jewish politicians are being vandalized and marked up, painted with swastikas, in synagogues that have a record of supporting Israel. They are being painted with swastikas. This is the new anti-Semitism that's going on. This is the Islamic BDS organizations, and remember, the BDS was founded in Ramallah. This is political Islam in action. And it has to stop, and we got to meet it head on, and we have to identify it. Now, there's an organization that is created now, get to it, to reach out to candidates throughout Canada. It's a BDS organization. It's called Vote Palestine, composed of various BDS personalities and BDS groups. And so they're reaching out to various candidates throughout Canada, and they're trying to sweet talk them into accepting their platform to be against Israel. One of the missions, projects of our organization here, Israel Now, is we're also going to be reaching out to candidates throughout Canada and contacting them. And we're going to be exposing this organization, Vote Palestine, for who they are. Organizations and personalities involved with this organization call for an intifada in Canada. They were heavily involved in the riots and violence that took place, for instance, Nathan Phillips Square on May 15th, and other rallies, in fact, where they're openly calling for an intifada. And it's not fun and games, an intifada. And with our blood and souls, we will redeem Palestine and all that other anti-Semitic nonsense and garbage. But we're going to be putting together information kits to the candidates throughout Canada, and we want to inform them exactly who is targeting them with BDS nonsense, lies, and incitement. So we're going to be reaching out. We want your support for that. We want to get your support. Now, we have a video of one of the organizations that's heavily involved with the Vote Palestine. It's the Palestine Youth Movement. Calls for an intifada. And in fact, on their Instagram page, they say Palestinian Youth Movement Toronto is excited to be a partner in the Vote Palestine campaign. So we have some video of them at a rally. So if our doctor in the studio could show this, could give people a sample, a taste, a flavor of who they are. This is not some human rights group, this Vote Palestine or this BDS. In their words, we'll show you who they are. Do we have this video? It's coming up. Also, again, anyone who has a question, concerns, you could call the number on the screen, 647-510-5535. No problem hearing from you. Whatever your concerns are, please give us a call. And if
we'll have about 30 seconds, so keep chatting.
Yeah, if you have any information that you want to share with us as well, if you've come across anything, any anti-Semitism, any attacks on our community, please share it with us as well. We want to know. Not only that, we're not just concerned about our community, but yes, in fact, we are. But the amount of churches that have been bombed and set on fire throughout Canada, when they come after churches, they're coming after us too. So we have to stick together. We have to reach out to these Christian communities, and we got to fight back. And there's an election going on, and we can't vote for politicians that are just going to make friends with the Taliban and make life more miserable for everybody else. I think we got this.
For Palestinians and for the peoples in solidarity with us. You might have heard there was a ceasefire. The struggle is not over. We forced them into a ceasefire, but we still have plans to liberate. We still have settlements to dismantle. We still have a whole national liberation movement ahead of us. And we're going to keep going, and this ceasefire is not the end of it. We're going to keep coming back. We're going to keep going. Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva Palestina! Viva, viva intifada! Viva, viva intifada! بالروح بالدم نفديك يا فلسطين 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 بالروح Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Okay, so this organization, Vote Palestine as well, so they're with him. That's the leader of the organization, Palestine Youth Movement, the local leader here. And there he is, in his words, and you saw the video, and there's no disputing what they stand for. And the crowd is chanting along with him as well. So that's what Vote Palestine embraces. So we're going to get this message out to all different candidates as well. But I want to say also, we have another video to show, but one other thing is that on the platform of Vote Palestine, they say, they make it very clear, they're against a two-state solution. Now, of course, I'm against a two-state solution if it means that Hamas is going to control the territories and they could fire thousands of missiles at Israel, and we're just supposed to sit back and enjoy this and say that's Palestinian freedom and freedom to express yourself in any single way you want. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm for a strong Jewish state that has borders that are defensive borders and no threat to Jews to enjoy themselves in the land of Israel. But the original Zionist movement, Zionist leaders in 1947, the UN tried to get a two-state solution going, And the Jewish leaders at the time accepted it fully and said yes, and the state of Israel would be a lot smaller than it is today, or before 1967, in fact. The Arabs said no, and they went to war, and they lost. They could have had whatever state they're talking about. Their objective was not that. The objective was, as a video that we saw earlier, forcing the Jews to swim in the sea, to kill the Jews. That was it. That was the objective. And that's the objective today, too. And these BDS organizations, they reject the two-state solution. It's unbelievable. They still want a war. And when you see these rallies calling for an intifada, they want a war. They want a battle. That's it. And that's why we're going to reach out to all the candidates throughout Canada and explain to them who is trying to appeal to them and who this organization is. Now, there's an actress in Israel that made a video and explaining just the relationship between Hamas and the Taliban. And for a period of time, she was censored on Instagram for her words, and then they reinstated her video. After all, I guess there was a little bit of an outrage, but it's very important to hear her message. We have a video of her right now, and her message also is really kind of like a response to the Canadian female minister who is in charge of women's rights and gender rights, or gender equality, when this minister referred to the Taliban as her brothers, our brothers who are the Taliban. It's unbelievable. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. And we have to get rid of people like that. We have to vote them out. We have to vote them out. We have to know what the issues are, what it's all about. There's an election coming up in Canada, so we can't be embracing the Taliban. We can't accept leaders in Canada who are going to embrace the Taliban and want to bring more supporters into Canada. So here's this actress from Israel explaining it.
Just right before I interject, you're talking about the two-state solution, one-state solution. I have a philosophy. My philosophy, if two states are good, then three states are better. So I think we have the three-state solution. It's called Egypt, Jordan, Israel. So
absolutely.
Done deal. Move on. So now let me just introduce this little video clip here. And basically, before we show her, basically, Noah Tishby is an Israeli actress, writer, producer, and activist, self-proclaimed and very active. She is listed in the Jerusalem Post as among the 50 most influential Jews in the world today, because she's not only, a activist for Israel, she's a very successful actress, been on a variety of American TV shows. And so here's a little from her regarding the whole concept of Sharia law.
In recent days, we've seen the stunning takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban. The Taliban announced that they will respect women's rights according to Islam and that women would be very happy to live under Sharia law. Just so we're clear, Sharia law states that a woman is her husband's possession. She can't leave the house unaccompanied by her husband or father. It says that if a woman is raped, she has to produce 4 male witnesses in order to validate her claim, or she's considered a cheater and can be stoned to death. But the rapist can be redeemed if he does the right thing and marries his victim, as one of his multiple wives, of course. It also states that if a woman is disobedient to her husband, he can beat her up. That is Sharia law. The Taliban is an extreme Sunni Islamist organization which is committed to Sharia and jihad, a holy war to the death. Do you know who else is an extreme Sunni Islamist organization who's committed to Sharia law and a holy war to the death? Hamas. Hamas, the terrorist organization which took over Gaza and is at war with Israel, is essentially the Taliban. Yet, when Hamas launches rockets into Israel and Israel tries to defend herself against these monsters, celebrities and social justice warriors explode with righteous rage against Israel, a Western democracy. And when the Taliban takes over an entire country, crickets from them. The world is rightfully shocked by what is happening in Afghanistan. But when the same thing happens in Gaza, it's Israel's fault. Men in dresses, beards, turbans, and Kalashnikovs are the enemy of every Western value we hold dear. Hamas is the Taliban. It's the same ideology, same commitment to death, same human rights abuse, same obsession with 72 virgins which are promised to you in heaven should you become a shaheed. Free Afghanistan from the Taliban. Free Gaza from Hamas. And support Israel while you're at it.
Well put. That's excellent. And like I said, she was censored temporarily on Instagram for those words, but reinstated. Listen, everyone out there, this is not entertainment. This is reality of what's going on. And when I talk about this Vote Palestine organization, the elections are, happening right now. Candidates are making their case for themselves. They want to be elected. And Vote Palestine, that organization is very active for the BDS to approach them and try and galvanize support for Hamas, essentially, and against Israel. So we're going to be exposing them and reaching out to all the candidates. We need your support. Need your support now as we go forward. Every single week, we'll be giving more information. We'll be accomplishing various tasks to meet our goal to expose this organization and make sure that politicians reject their message completely. We have to do this. We have to do this work. This is a battle that's going on. This is political Islam in action in Canada right now. That's what that movement is about, the BDS. And therefore, we have to expose it. And we will, and we're doing it, and we're active. And we take, we had a minor victory right now where we stopped the Bikers for Palestine, that was political Islam, to enter the Jewish neighborhoods and intimidate the community. We stopped that. We're successful. We're going to be successful with this also. Been successful on many fronts already. And we want you to be part of this. We want you to join us. Go on our website, israelnow.ca. Go on our website. Get involved with us. Send us an email. Send us a message. Make a contribution. Make a donation. Volunteer. Believe me, we'll give you chores to do. We have a call coming through. Can I help you?
Hi, I just want to congratulate you guys for the amazing work. And I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm really upset that the UGA moved the, what is it called? The Work for Israel to the Jewish areas. That's a horrible thing, but because we have all these, all these terrorists, like going around the area, and it's really not a good feeling. So I just wanted to express that, and that shouldn't be happening. Keep it the CNE away from the Jewish community. Why do you want to bring all these terrorists in that area?
Right. Yeah. Listen, I hear you. I think I'm not too sure what the I don't work with the UGA, but all I could do is say that I think that when they had their last walk for Israel before COVID, they thought that it would be easier for the community if they could set up different stands and whatever. But they did it. They did it.
No, I think that was the second one there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an assault to the Jewish community.
Right.
They're naive. They should have done their homework.
Right.
And keep it away, make it, I don't even know where, far away from the Jewish community. So we don't have all those terrorists around.
Yeah, well, they used to do it downtown, in fact, around the CNE. That's where they were doing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I attended some of the walks with you,
right.
Meir.
Right, okay.
I'm one of the biggest fans.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Listen, thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye-bye. That's a nice call. Listen, whoever has a question, any concerns you have, call us. If you have any information about the BDS, what they're planning, what any of those groups are, you have any information you want to give us, do it. Here's another call. You're on. Can I help you? Hello. Hello. Well, didn't come through. Okay, so yes, if you have any information about anti-Semitic attacks, anything going on, also if you have any information about churches that are being attacked, we want to know about that as well. We want to know about that. We want to help Christian organizations as well fight back and rise to the occasion, not be intimidated. So there's a lot of work to do, a lot that we have to do, and we feel very encouraged. But the information is there. There's a lot that you could do as well if you can't come out to meetings, and that's fine. A lot of people are very concerned still, about the COVID. We got to keep away. We can't really go out or anything. There still is a lot of work you could do with us, assisting with emailing, with sharing information. There's a tremendous amount of work that you could do. We have so much to do. Believe me, I spend countless hours with a number of people going through the information, trying to put out proper information out there. We send out regular email blasts as well to educate the community, and we put it on social media. We share it on Facebook. We share it on Instagram, on Twitter as well. We get the information out there. There are BDS organizations right now that are salivating for Hamas. They want Hamas to continue to attack Israel. There's a rumor that the situation is going to escalate at the border with Gaza tomorrow because the Prime Minister of Israel is meeting with Joe Biden today, the President of the United States. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. But Israel is certainly not going to lie down. They have to defend themselves. And while we're here, we have to defend the truth for Israel as well. As we move forward for the high holidays, we do have people amongst us in our community who have joined the BDS. They're not large in number or anything, but they try to have an effect. And we want you to help us identify them, because they should not be, there should be a clear red line in our community. They should not have access to the Jewish community organizations, the JCC, synagogues. They can't be welcomed. Once you cross that line and you become a supporter of Hamas and you want no Israel, you cross that line. It's like eating chametz on Pesach and being public about it, that you don't want to be with us. You join the enemy. You became a modern-day capo. We want to know who they are. There was a document signed. I just saw it a couple of days ago. They're calling themselves Jewish faculty. Jewish professors who have joined the BDS that are urging the government of Canada to develop an anti-Israel position and to reject the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. They want the double standards. They want Israel to be compared to Nazi Germany. They want to accuse Israel of committing genocide. They want to say when Israel allows a gay pride parade, and I'm no big fan of gay pride parades or anything, but I certainly don't discriminate against gays at all. I'm just no fan of it. But they have it in Tel Aviv at the beach, and, pretty much anything goes at a beach. That's what I see. So they dance and they sing and this, to each their own on the beach in Tel Aviv. And they want them wiped up. They call it, these BDSers and these Jews that are part of the BDS, they call that pink washing. They say they're not authentic in Israel by having these gay pride events. They are authentic. They're not faking it. It's just ridiculous. Everything is, Israel is the leader in veganism apparently as well. You go to Israel, you go to Tel Aviv, you'll see veganism all over the place. They say Israel is using the vegan idea, concept to instead of pink washing, vegan washing. That's what they call it, something like that. Everything is a wash, sports washing. Israel enters the Olympics in order to use sports to whitewash their crimes against humanity. To whitewash their crimes. Comparing Israel with Nazi Germany. One day alone in Auschwitz, 12,000 Jews a day were murdered in Auschwitz. And there were other camps too. 12,000 a day in the gas chambers. Comparing Israel to Nazi Germany, look at the Middle East. Look at the Taliban. Look at Hamas. Israel left Gaza, and the PA was supposed to take over. And they did take over. And not that I'm a big fan even of the PA, because they have a pay for slay program. But anyways, PA is supposed to take over. Hamas doesn't like the PA. They're throwing PA leaders, Palestinian Authority leaders, from the rooftops to their death. That's Hamas. They're killing fellow Arabs. The leaders of Hamas are living in luxury. They exploit the masses. They laugh all the way to the bank. But you know what? That's how it is in the Middle East. You have democracies in the Middle East. You have monarchies and dictatorships. That's what you have. The guy is voted in for life. And then he gives it to his son or cousin to run with brutality. And that's why what you have in Gaza is, again, like a brutal dictatorship, because that's how it is in the Middle East. Either monarchies or dictatorships. And they're going to lecture Israel. Israel is pink washing. Israel is vegan washing. Israel is sport washing. No, Israel's a leader in technology in the world, in every single technology. Medical technology. Why are they doing it? They're not faking. They're trying to help humanity in the world, to save lives. Israel is on the cusp of water technology to save countries that are living in drought. The evilness of the BDS has to be exposed. And we're doing that. And we will continue to do that. And we will continue to shed a spotlight, open up the rocks where this hate crawls out from. We will shine a spotlight on it and show these politicians throughout Canada, these candidates, who this BDS group is, who this Vote Palestine group is. Who is responsible for spraying the swastikas on synagogues and on election campaign posters of Jews? Who's responsible? Political Islam. Because they consider, like I said, Israel to be compared to Nazi Germany, and they accuse Israel of committing genocide. Now, if you think about it deeply, if you really think about it deeply, in that equation also lies Holocaust denial. The equation doesn't fit at all. There's Holocaust denial. But then if you go further into it also, they don't even consider the Jews in Israel to be real Jews. Therefore, they say we have no indigenous claims to the land of Israel. The foundation of the BDS is all built on a lie, on a fabrication. Nothing could be proven by them. They're all liars and haters and anti-Semites. We have our work cut out for us. I want you to join us. I want you to make a contribution to Israel now. I believe we have another video that we're going to be showing. Does our doctor in the studio have something? I keep getting these messages. We have something there?
Yes, I do. I have a video because it, as Schneerson said and many other people, that even in the darkest corner, there's always some light. And darkness isn't an entity of itself. It's just the absence of light. So I'm going to show just a happy video because we're going to call this the Mensch of the week.
Oh.
And so here's a short little video, which I think you're all going to enjoy. So Israel Now proudly presents our Mensch of the week. So I'd like to say Mazel Tov to Rabbi Marcus Solomon, who is the first Orthodox rabbi in history being appointed to the Australian Supreme Court. And that's quite an accomplishment. So his background is impressive. He got his rabbinic ordination from the Chabad Yeshiva in Brooklyn, although he is Australian. He then went back to Australia, where he completed the Rabbinical College of Australia and New Zealand, which is located in Victoria, Australia, not Victoria, Canada, or Victoria, Texas. And in 1993, he actually established the Bet Midrash of Western Australia. Rabbi Solomon, before he became interested in law, he taught Jewish studies and served as vice president and governor at a private Jewish school, the Carmel School, which is a K through 12 school located in Australia, and it's considered an exceptional modern Orthodox Zionist K through 12 Jewish day school. In 1901, he finished the University of Western Australia. And in 1993, as I mentioned earlier, he established Bet Midrash of Western Australia. Western Australia is a state in Australia. So he maintains his position as a senior rabbi at a shul, while he's also
I think we just are we coming back to the rabbi? Yes. All right, doctor, you're cutting out. We can't hear you.
Okay.
There we go.
Again, me and the rabbi. Let's see.
I wish to conclude with an old Jewish custom.
I think this is great.
At moments of importance in one's life and the life of a community, whatever one's belief or indeed non-belief, we ought humbly to acknowledge and never take for granted life itself, the values and freedoms we enjoy, and the good fortune we share in having been sustained to come together on such an occasion. And if the Chief Justice can use the Hebrew, then I am not going to be outdone. And so, in the traditional Hebrew, Shehechianu v'kiyimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Thank you all.
Thank you, Uriah.
But that's the first for the Australian courts. Let's just finish up his little video here. So Mazel Tov, and as he takes his position on the courts, he can factually now be referred to as our very own, sitting on the bench of the Australian courts. He is indeed a Mensch on the bench. I knew you'd like that, Meir. I just couldn't resist.
I love it. I love it.
Rabbi Marcus Solomon, our Mensch on the bench. And Meir, I'll give it back to you.
Well, listen, we have literally one more show next week before we're going to enter into Rosh Hashanah. I mean, the week after will be Rosh Hashanah, so obviously we can't be on the air, but the following week we will. And it's been a pleasure, again, with everybody else joining us. And I'm asking you if you could please share this with your different social media platforms, groups that you're part of. We'll reach a lot more people. We need you to get involved with Israel Now. We're successful already having the Bikers for Palestine canceled this Shabbat. Very good. We have to have Vote Palestine canceled as well. Fully exposed for who they are, for the hate that they represent. And it is hate, and it's anti-Semitism. And we're taking it head on. We're not backing down. We're not going to ignore it. We're not going to say, just ignore it. Everything will be no problem. Things don't work like that. The Biden administration did not know how to handle the Afghanistan situation. The pullout was a disaster. And the future right now in that region is not stable. And these BDS organizations, they are not stable. And if you allow them to grow and you don't take any action, you'll wake up one day to a nightmare. These Hamas supporters, we have to take them seriously. We have to marginalize them as much as we can and expose them in every single capacity. And that's what we'll do. Everything. We need their identities. We need everything. We need your help. We're going to do this, and we're going to alert all the candidates across Canada who this organization is. We're not going to let them get away with it. We're not going to sit back and just watch. Not at all. Israel Now is on top of it. Join us. Let's get the job done. We have a lot of work to do. Want to wish everyone the best. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great Shabbat. And please go on our website, make a contribution, israelnow.ca/donate. Make a contribution, small, medium, large, anything. We're going in the right direction. We need your help. We need it now. And we're going to make the show even better with different technologies and different people who are going to come on board. Going to have different guests as we move forward. We've had phenomenal guests in this past year. We've had just the best. We had one of the attorneys that represented President Donald Trump. That's quite an accomplishment. We've had all kinds of people on the show. The show's exciting. There is no show like our show. We've had people from Israel on the show. We have a lot of plans. We might even expand to have a couple nights a week, a couple days a week, something. We're open for suggestions, but we want you to get involved. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And again, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.